are here at the 2012 Dallas International Film Festival with Texas Avery Animation Award winner Glen Keane. Glen has done a phenomenal body of work throughout his career, including drawing figures like Ariel, with Entangled, Rapunzel, and Beast for Beauty and the Beast. He has meant a whole lot to the world around him, and you may not even know him, but you sure do know his character. So we're here talking with him a little bit today, and hope you get to know him a little bit better. Glen, thank you.
Thank you, Candace. It's nice to be here.
Awesome. So tell us what your expression was when you found out that you're going to win this award.
Well, it felt like it was a perfect completion in a way. I had just stepped away from Disney after 38 years, and when I heard that I was going to get this award, it brought me back to when I was 20 years old and started and met Tex Avery at Disney. And I, more than anything, wanted to work with him. I mean, I think if he had had a studio, I would have gone to work for Tex Avery. And at 20 years old, he came to the studio. I mean, when I was 20, he came. He was an older man. And I said, Tex, what are you doing now? He said, well, nothing. I said, what do you mean nothing? He says, well, nobody wants what I do anymore. I said, well, we want you. Come here to Disney. We were just a bunch of young animators there, and so he said, well, I've never been asked to be here at Disney. I would love to. And so I ran upstairs to management and said, you'll never believe it. Tex Avery wants to work with us. And they said, who's Tex Avery? And he. And so it didn't happen. I mean, Disney could have changed a whole new direction at that point. But Tex Avery, to me, represents the ultimate in fearless, boundless imagination and courage in animation. And right at this point for me, stepping away from Disney, I've left so that I can really explore some new bounds in this art of animation, and it just feels right to have this award now.
Yeah, it's almost a confirmation in a way.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome. You know what I love about your history is that your art form was taught to you by your dad. And I know that your daughter Claire, she's also involved at Disney in drawing, and you guys are inspired by your granddaughter Matisse, and you were even a character in Family Circus that your dad would draw.
Yeah.
And I love that family aspect of it, and part of me, but I never saw animating as something that you can continue to pass down. I don't know why. It just didn't dawn on me, because, you know, a lot of times you hear the family business and it's a mechanic shop or something like that. I just loved that idea, that this is a heritage that you guys have in your family. And I'm sure that's incredibly special to you.
Well, for me, it was the most normal thing in the world to have a dad who draws. You know, as a kid, you just kind of assume everybody's family is like yours.
Yeah.
And then you go over to somebody else's house, and it's a little weird, and things aren't like the way it is in your house. And I remember just kind of having to have to get used to the fact that my friends' dads weren't artists. And like for me, anytime I wanted any help, I could knock on the studio door, and which was attached to the house. And even if it was, you know, 9 o'clock at night, I'd knock on his door, and you'd hear him in there working. Always some deadline he was working on, and you'd hear, "Come in." And I'd go in, and you smell the pipe tobacco, and Dad'd be there drawing. And I said, "Dad, I'm trying to draw this horse, but he keeps looking like a dog. Can you help me?" "Well, sure. Come on in." You know, so he'd always this gesture of clearing away his work. He'd always push his stuff aside. Never said, "You know what, Glenn, I'm just too busy." He always took the time, and he'd put my drawing down, and yeah, no, that looks like a dog. "I know, Dad. I'm trying to make it look like a horse." "Yeah, well, you should. You know, the horse doesn't look like that." "I know." "Okay." So he would show me what a horse's proportions were, and I'd always come away just so inspired. I'd go back to I had a little drawing desk in my bedroom, and it was the most natural thing for our kids then, when, you know, for their grandfather to be an artist. Their dad is an artist. Both my son and my daughter are involved in animation. You know, it feels like it's in our genes, But I think God plants us in the right family because He's put gifts inside of us that need to be watered and nurtured,
Yes.
and it's just kind of naturally happening in ours.
And I think something else that's naturally happening is your new project. You know, coming out into after Disney into a whole new world, so to speak. Now you're involved in new stories. Tell us a little bit about those.
Well, I did a series of children's books called Adam Raccoon. The whole time I was working on Aladdin and Tarzan and The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. I did children's books like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd be up and I'd be working on those, and they started off as for me, a way to teach kids at our church. And eventually, I had all these stories there. I thought, hey, I should do something with them, and so I published them. So there's a series of books called Adam Raccoon. He's a little rascally character that represents us, and King Aaron is a lion character that represents Christ, and the relationship of us to Him is seen in those characters, and it's just a great way to teach the kids. I would like to continue doing those now, and that's one of the things that I'm starting to develop ideas to how to bring that, whether it's more books, whether it's into animation even. I'd like to explore that now.
That's awesome. You've been a part of so much of the revolution in animation as well. You know, I remember seeing the trailer for Pocahontas and how, you have new effects and everything else. And I think one of the things that has inspired me the most about your artwork is just the thought process behind it. And I'd like to do something a little different today. And Glenn has so graciously agreed. I wanted to see if you would draw for us a little bit and just talk us through your thought process.
Okay.
And how you design the eyes to represent strength or the jawline to represent courage. And I just wanted to kind of get your take on that, if
Sure.
you wouldn't mind. Okay.
Yeah, if we can
Yep, I've
get
got
some
it all
paper.
ready for you. Here you go.
Thank you.
And a pen. I know it's probably not the cool pens.
No, it's not the cool. Usually it's a pencil, but that's okay.
Okay.
I've drawn in every
I did that for you.
possible surface and instrument, including a dirty fingernail. Okay, so let me just do Ariel. Now, I mean, Ariel was a character that was based on my wife, really. When I was starting this character, typically I'd been doing the villains, and the directors, when I came up to them, I had said, I have to do that. I have to do that character, Ariel. When I heard part of your world, I was just transported into this desire to be that character. And they said, well, can you draw a pretty girl? And I said, well, yeah, I've been drawing my wife for all these years. I think I can do that.
She's pretty.
Yeah. And so I did. And the thing is that the eyes are very expressive. With Ariel, I made them really big. It's something that you lock onto the eyes. They are the window to the soul. And you can see how a character feels, the expression. It tells you so much about this character. And to me, the characters that I really love to animate are characters that have this this burning desire inside of them. They believe that the impossible is possible. And I think I really relate to that. I love to be able to animate something that's, I don't know, inexpressible in words, that it really requires, animation to communicate it. Like for Ariel, here she is as mermaid, and she wants to live in a world where they breathe air, but she's breathing water, and she's got fins, but she wants to walk on land. I mean, it's just impossible.
Right.
And her father thinks so, and everybody else does too. But for her, no, she's going to go for it. I love characters like that. And so the face has to be a very expressive face to communicate desire and a longing that you hear in the song, part of your world. So here's Ariel. I'm going to draw her fins there.
Oh, yeah, you can't forget those.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, 24 more of those, and we have 1 second on the
Wow.
screen. I know it's kind of crazy in art form where you have to do 24 drawings for 1 second up on the screen, and you can see why the computer
Yeah.
has come in. But
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you would think that it gets to be tedious, after a while, but it seems that these characters have so much heart and soul and passion and drive that it's just you're continuing to create this wonderful world around them. And how could that ever be?
well, it's not real tedious actually. When I'm animating, I don't think of it one drawing after another drawing after another. I think of it more like a musician who has a melody, and he doesn't think of it note by note by but there's this whole flow, and so I'm just drawing, and I'm drawing very quickly, trying to get this expression out, and I completely lose myself when I'm animating. I mean, I am them. I'm living them.
Yeah.
If you watch any of the animation I've done, you see my face all the way through that. Matter of fact, I would have other animators work with me on these characters, and I could tell who animated what just by seeing the face of the animator in that, their expressions, and so we live through the characters we animate. I'm an actor with a pencil, but it's more than being an actor. It's really putting yourself into your work.
Yes. And to touch on something you said earlier, it's as though God gave you that pen, to put yourself and your journey and your life into each one of these characters. And we had Dean DeBois here last year, and he was talking about just some of his experiences and the messages that he wanted children to hear and understand and to take on for themselves. And I love these characters that you've drawn and created. And just thank you so much for all of your hard work, for your legacy, and for how you've impacted. God's surely done a wonderful work and will continue to do so in the days ahead.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. Candace, thank you.
Thank you. And we're so honored to have you as our Texas Avery Animation Award winner for 2012. Thanks, everybody, and check out any one of these wonderful Disney movies. And please keep in touch with Glen Keane. Do you have a website or anything people can follow you on?
Not yet. Not yet.
But it's coming.
Well, if you just type in Glen Keane, you'll get a bunch of stuff up on the internet, but who knows if it's true or not.
Well, it is good. He's got a lot of great YouTube videos, too. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.